You're watching HQ Spotlight. The Chiefs have the chance to do something that no NFL team has ever done before, and that is win 3 straight Super Bowls. Kansas City coming up just short, losing to the Eagles in the Super Bowl, the reigning AFC West champs. They have Patrick Mahomes. They got this guy, Andy Reid. So you feel like you should always have a chance, right? By the way, Patrick Mahomes, that is Pete Prisco's #1 player in his top 100 players. Getting a look at the odds to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, they are tied with the Eagles for the third best odds at plus 750, only behind the Ravens and the Bills. I guess it's like T2, T3. I don't know. It's 750. The Ravens and the Bills are 7-1, and the Chiefs and the Eagles are not that far behind. All right, let's welcome in our NFL analysts, B-Mac and John Breech here for a season outlook for Kansas City. Gentlemen, a lot of Super Bowl experience here, right? Andy Reid has been to, 6 of them? Patrick Mahomes isn't even 30, and he's been to 5. It feels like this team, no matter what happens in the first 6, 7, 8 games of the season, they find a way to always get back in contention. B-Mac, I'll come to you first here. What is your feeling, your confidence level on the Chiefs to make it yet another Super Bowl run?
Well, my ceiling for the Chiefs, clearly winning their division again, the AFC West, and be one of the best teams in the National Football League. My confidence level is really, really high, and seeing those things become a reality. And here's why. This is a team, Jacqueline, John, they went 15-2 a year ago, all in the midst of playing without their top wide receiver in Rashee Rice and their #2 wide receiver in Hollywood Brown. Both players missed significant time, but yet and still they found a way defensively coming up with timely stops. And people can say whatever they want to say in terms of just being lucky. Well, I'd rather be lucky than good, because oftentimes the luckiest is always the one that's in position to put a smile on their faces and their fan faces. And that's what we saw. Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback head coaching duo that we've seen since Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And oh, by the way, those two individuals won a lot. They competed for a lot of championships. And I see the same pedigree with this said organization led by Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, B-Mac, you mentioned they went 15-2. They even had a revolving door left tackle there, and now they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder because they lost that Super Bowl. I mean, look at Travis Kelce. The man has lost 25 pounds. It's like he's been on a Slim Fast diet. I don't know what Taylor Swift has him eating, but he seems pretty laser focused on being better than he was last season. Not that he was bad at all. He had a pretty solid season. And that really feels like that's the attitude of the entire organization right now. So I think the Chiefs are going to be driven to get back to the Super Bowl and win it again. So my confidence, like B-Max, is also very high with this team.
Breech, you mentioned Travis Kelce, and there's reports out there that he's lost 25 pounds here during minicamp, trying to get in the best shape of his life. So, B-Mac, are we dramatic if we're reading too much into that based off of what we're seeing for Travis Kelce, as he had a down season by his standards last year?
No, we're not reading too much into this. We actually need to see for what it's worth. And here's why this makes sense. Because to your point, the last few seasons with all the success they have earned from the team element and, of course, the individual side of things with Travis Kelce, it's safe to say he was in the midst of the regular season getting into shape, right? And that played a major part in not showcasing the dominance that we've seen throughout his Hall of Fame career. And you look at how he finished the season. Yes, it wasn't an impressive outing for the team, but most importantly for number 87, he was a shell of himself in that Super Bowl against the Eagles. So guess what? He's motivated. He's angry. He is determined. So now it's not about Travis Kelce having the offseason of his life, celebrating, traveling, drinking all the Budweisers and Bud Lights that's available. Now it's about getting on this avocado diet. I don't even know if he's actually eating avocado, but it just sounds like it's the healthiest thing to do with him losing the weight that he's lost. So now he's going into training camp in really, really good shape. Week 1, he's going to be in top-level shape, something that we haven't seen, especially in 2024. So if he is prepared and ready to go, you better believe old money Pat Mahomes will be ready to go as well, and getting 87 his just due.
You know what, guys? Taylor Swift is famous for her baked goods and all of that. She always posts about it, and it feels like Travis Kelce, he's not getting any of her baked goods there, dropping 25 pounds, to your point. Let's talk about biggest offseason losses and additions, and you kind of already alluded to it here with the left tackle position, the O-line, some of the issues that we saw throughout last season. So, Breech, it's impossible to ignore the loss of Joe Thuney.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the Kansas City Chiefs got rid of Joe Thuney willingly. This wasn't somebody leaving in free agency. They traded him away to the Chicago Bears, but it's absolutely a move that could backfire. I mean, you look where the Chiefs were last season on the offensive line. One reason they didn't win the Super Bowl is because the line couldn't stop the Eagles' pass rush. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 6 times, and that was after a regular season where he got sacked 36 times, which is the most he's been sacked in a season in his entire career. So there's an absolute risk with trading away one of your best offensive linemen, because now you have these question marks. It's not just about left tackle. It's who's going to be your left guard. And yes, they have guys they are planning to put there, but you don't know if that's going to work out. You don't know if they're going to turn into the next Joe Thuney. And let's not forget how versatile he is. Yes, he started the season playing guard, but later in the year, they needed him to play left tackle. He wasn't a great fit at left tackle. He was a very, very good left guard. But that is what you need. You need guys that can do that when you're in a pinch. So I do think the loss of Joe Thuney is something that could maybe come back to haunt the Chiefs this season.
Now, I love that, when you talk about the versatility on the offensive side. But for me, John, I'm going to the defensive side. The biggest loss for me, I look at, the entire roster and the production is Justin Reed. Moving on. Now he's a part of the New Orleans Saints. The reason why this is a big loss for me, especially on the defensive side, you look at the continuity they've had years past. Remember, Justin Reed won 2 Super Bowls with this organization. Over the last 3 years for the Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Reed played in 97% of the defensive snaps. He was a mainstay in the defense of presence in terms of being where he needs to be, being accountable, and most importantly, the chemistry that he had in the back end. The ultimate traffic cop, being very, very transparent, not to mention a quality player in the running game. Now you take him out of the fold. Yes, we've seen the ability of Steve Spagnuolo to elevate a young up-and-coming player, but in terms of the chemistry, that's hard to establish, especially with the way they start the season. So when you look at the continuity and just the type of playmaker that Reed was in that defense, now knowing that he's no longer there, he's the biggest loss for me.
So, B-Mac, I know you're looking at the defensive side of the ball for the biggest offseason losses, but for the additions, we're going right back to O-line, B-Mac.
No question. John talked about Joe Thuney moving on. They traded him. But when you look at what they did in the draft, being 32nd at the end of the draft, utilizing a first-round pick on Josh Simmons. Our very own colleague here with CBS, Pete Prisco, stated that if Josh Simmons was healthy, he was the best offensive lineman in this past year's draft. When you look at the talent and the potential, a lot of people felt the same way. But he was available in the back end of the first round because of the injuries. Well, everything has checked out right so far in terms of the medical. Now, this is an individual in terms of the addition, Jacqueline John. You might not feel his presence week 1 or week 2, but at some point in time, when he's acclimated to this offense, he is going to be on the left side, and he's going to be a mainstay in terms of the protection for Pat Mahomes. We talked about the offensive line concerns of a year ago. This is a player that can really efface all of those concerns out of the window once he gets acclimated. Andy Reid said he started off taking only individual reps, and now he's a part of the team reps as well. So clearly he's progression in the right direction.
Yeah, protect Patrick Mahomes. That is priority number 1 there in Kansas City. Gentlemen, let's get to the schedule prediction. The Chiefs open up the schedule in Brazil against their divisional rival. They have 7 primetime games, 5 of those coming in the first 8 weeks. Breech, how many wins are we going to see here from this squad?
Well, after a 15-2 season last year, I don't think they're going to get quite the 15 wins this year. But look, when I look at this team's schedule, they get to play the AFC South. They get to play the NFC East. Yes, the Eagles are a very good team, the Commanders, but there's the Giants. So I think that the Chiefs can probably do pretty good against those 2 divisions. And then you look at the AFC West. Every year we have the conversation of, is this the season where the other AFC West teams finally caught up to the Chiefs? And it never happens. They're 20-4 against that division over the past 4 seasons. I think they once again win the division, dominate the AFC West. I'm going to say they go 13-4 because it's Patrick Mahomes, and I can't imagine him winning fewer than 13 games.
We're running a little short on time, but also worth noting that BMAC has Kansas City going 13-4 as well. BMAC Breech, we certainly appreciate it, giving us a season outlook for Kansas City. Getting a look at the sports line projections for the Chiefs. They have them right around 10 wins, a 43.3% chance to win the division, over 77% chance to get to the playoffs, a 4.4% chance to win the Super Bowl. The conference champs, we talked about it there, 9.1% chance. So looking a little bit more favorable per sports line for KC than other teams. All right, over on the ice, we have Game 6 of the Cup Final tonight. Can Connor McDavid and company keep the Oilers season alive? We're going back to some hockey talk coming up on Spotlight.